News Talk 820 WBAP now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. Woo, 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 woo. Hour number 3. Whoa, hey, whoa, whoa, hey. A little pep in my step this hour, I suppose. Okay, so there's new polling out. And the polling is trending in the wrong direction for Trump. Quinnipiac, 48%. Harris over Trump, 45. She's up by 3. Emerson College, Harris 50, Trump 46. She's up by 4. Fox News, Trump is up by 1. Morning Consult, Harris up over Trump, 47 to 44, up by 3. Third week running, the Morning Consult says, since she's launched her presidential campaign, voters remain more likely to say they heard something positive about her than negative. By a double-digit margin. Her net buzz rating is best Trump from last week by a whopping 33 points. It's the share of voters who heard something positive minus the share who heard something negative. Well, that's because the media, covers it up, but that's okay. That's how it always has been. Cook Political Report says the wave of GOP senators is far from a sure bet. And here's the latest from them. Arizona Senate, the Democrat gets it by 9 right now. Michigan, Democrat by 8. Nevada, I don't know which one Rosen is. And then Pennsylvania, it'll be the Democrat by 13. And Wisconsin by 7. And North Carolina, I don't know which party that person is. But we can do it, but it's the more Trump fails, the more the rest of us fail. This is how it is. And so what he's got to do is what he did in the first. I didn't catch the first, I didn't catch all of it, but I caught like 5 minutes of Trump's, the beginning of his speech, maybe even longer. I don't know, maybe it was 10. And it was amazing. It finally, you have no idea how high I was listening to that speech. I was like, oh my gosh, I got so high on listening to it because he was doing the right notes. He was talking, he literally said specific grocery prices. He said cereal this year, since under Joe, has gone up 36%. Or 26%, whatever. He literally went down each one that was like massive, and he went one by one, gently and just regularly. And then he also mentioned mortgage. The mortgage was when I left office, it was, I think he said it was $1,700. That's what it was, but he said it was double, and then now it's triple. The latest figures that came out, he said that was the last time I can't remember what national federal group organization that he cited it. He goes, but now it's even higher. It's triple, which is true. It went from $1,700 to $3,300 now for an average mortgage under Joe Biden. And I shared with you a piece from the Wall Street Journal today, and I'll probably dig back into it a little bit because it's so damning. And it's entitled today from the Wall Street Journal editorial board, How the Biden-Harris Economy Left Most Americans Behind. He spent $5.8 trillion in 3 years, double of what Trump did in 4 years. And that was, Trump did it for COVID. They did it because they didn't need to. The Journal laid out the GDP and the growth and also all the jobs they claim, that Kamala claims. They are still not at the level to the pre-pandemic level, like the numbers of jobs. And most of the ones that were added were because of the $5.8 trillion that Joe and Kamala spent. Do you realize that she was two of the votes? Because of her I think it was $2.8 trillion. She literally was a tie vote on two different votes to put I believe it's $2.8 trillion. It may be $2.5 trillion, but you understand this woman, Kamala, is literally, she came into the Senate. The vice president can break a tie in the Senate. She came into the Senate and she 2 times voted to break it to get these massive multi-trillion dollar spending projects. One is $1.8 trillion. The other one was, I think, $0.5 trillion. So it was $2.3 trillion. She's personally responsible for making it happen. You understand this? Understand this? She owns it. So she literally is responsible for almost exactly half of every one of the let me get the exact numbers here. One of the 5.8 trillion. She's responsible for half of the 5.8 trillion personally for making it happen. She caused this massive inflation, according to the Wall Street Journal, and I'm happy to go over the numbers that I've shared with you tonight. It's unbelievable what they it's a damning thing. How good the economy was, how Trump spent less than half of what they did in 4 years, and they spent more than double of it unnecessarily because the economy was fantastic. And all he had to do, I'm quoting him now, all Biden had to do was let the recovery unfold. Instead, he took $5.8 trillion of printed money, made it up, and then blew it out into the country and gave hundreds of billions of dollars of student loan aids that took it from people like plumbers and dishwashers who didn't go to college and made them pay for it on their backs, and has bankrupted this and has made, and they purposely put in $2.3 trillion of excess savings that they gave Americans. That was 12.5% of disposable income. So much money, I'm quoting them again, chasing too few goods fueled inflation. And they said the White House blamed corporate greed for inflation that peaked 9.1% in June 2022, even as the spending party in Washington continued. $1 trillion of green pork and more money for states in 2021. $280 billion for the CHIPS Act and Biden's new Green Deal, aka Inflation Reduction Act, $1.2 trillion over a decade. All this garbage distorted it. All these entitlements distorted it. And that's what has caused massive amounts of money injected in the economy and people's pockets, which created such demand because they had so much overflowing cash and reserves. They have created high inflation, and that's where we're at, okay? So, but the polls are bad. We're moving in the wrong direction. And Trump was so brilliant today. Sorry, I'm going a roundabout way. Trump was so brilliant today until so I walked away, and then like 10, 15 minutes later, I go into my studio and he's still talking. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Don't do it, dude. And I turned it back on, and there he was being nasty. I think some of this will put that out there. Hold on.
I don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't have a lot of respect for her intelligence, and I think she'll be a terrible president. And whether the personal attacks are good, bad, I mean, she certainly attacks me personally. She actually called me weird. He's weird.
That's losing. All that's losing. That's not winning. What he did in the first half was brilliant. I was all tingly, and I was like, this is how we're going to win. He's doing it. And then he went back into this, and he talked about the trial and the election and all these other things and being persecuted and the just purpose. Dude, let that go and win this race. And so that's why the polls are trending in the wrong direction. It's so easy. Here is, I'll hold off. I got revered pollster Nate Silver on the polls and whether it's bad for Trump or what. How alarmed does this make you feel, though? These polls I just shared with you, all these polls. How alarmed does this make you feel if you're a Trump supporter? What does Trump need to do to turn this around? 800-288-WBAP is our number. Those are my two questions for you. Chime in right now. We got time to pop you on. How alarmed does this make you feel if you're a Trump supporter? And what does Trump need to do to turn this around? 800-288-WBAP is our number. 800-288-9227. This makes me it makes me upset because this is so easy. He can win this so easily. His policies are so awesome, and his plan for the next 4 years is so awesome. He literally did what he says he's going to do again for 4 years. These people are bankrupt us, and she's come out with a radical leftist socialist like Venezuela and Russian type program with price controls on food, which will lead to scarcity. We've laid it out with Randy Martin from IRSprob.com. We've laid it out with the Wall Street Journal and with University of Chicago economists and with all the damning information I've shared with you from the American Economic Association, etc. And he's got this wrapped up in the bag, but he keeps saying stuff that's all negative and distracts, and it hurts him. And the more he does it, the more he gets Kamala points on the board and takes away our points unnecessarily and needlessly. This should be a slam dunk, and it's angering because this is our future. And he can win this if he was better at being disciplined, and he's his own worst enemy. That is what concerns me. How alarmed does this make you? Because then you have to go back to, well, I hope the people are smart enough to figure this out. And they're not going to figure it out because the media won't let them. And Trump will make them look bad, and make himself look bad, and they will be remembered of what they don't like about him. And then they're going to say, I'm either not going to vote or I'm going to vote for her, which is an unbelievable disaster that'll happen in this country. I really do believe that. Okay, coming up next, I'm going to share with you, oh gosh, we got some great stuff. We have two things. I want to share with you the first interview Kamala did today. Yes, she actually did one today. Unfortunately, it's not with what you think. It's what you would expect from her, because she hides and does no interviews. But she did do an interview today. You're going to hear it. Also, a guy who said he's a big fan of hers and will vote for her is now calling her out like you wouldn't believe for hiding and not doing an interview. Charlemagne the God calls her out on that. I'll tell you what he says. That and so much more is coming up at 10:16 on the Chris Crock Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.
Look, this Fox News poll is pretty good for Trump. That'll help a little bit when we update our model tomorrow. But you'd rather be Harris today. People should remember, though, two things. One, we have 3 more months to go. There will be more surprises. And two, the polls have been wrong before. In both of the last 2 general elections, they underestimated Trump.
Okay, that's revered pollster Nate Silver. So, and he does, he goes on to say it doesn't mean that Kamala's going to win. We kind of said it right there, and he went over some of the specifics on where Trump has been underestimated by good amounts, and so it's possible he would win. But he also says that right now, if it's today, as you heard, she would most likely win. Every time Trump is negative and nasty, though, like today, after we did so well, all that gets reported, like NBC News, for example, and CNN, were talking about his nasty comments and all these other things and rantings and stuff. And that's what some of the headlines say and stuff. And I'm not saying I necessarily agree with it, but it doesn't matter. That's how it's presented, and that's what they see. So if he doesn't give them anything to use, it won't be used. It can't be used. So I think that's what he needs to do. And he was so perfect for the first 10 minutes or so, and then he went off on some of this stuff, and it's so bad. And honestly, listen, if he does that after he gets elected, I literally don't care. What I want to see happen again in my personal life is I want to be, and yes, I'm taking you there. I want you to feel like you're there with me. I want to be with my, what are they called? AirPods or whatever. And you put in your ear. Anyways, with my AirPods, and I want to be walking in my backyard with them, sweating like a dog, with my hat on that covers the sun, and busting my hump doing my lawn, and listening to Trump say outrageous things like I'm on a wild roller coaster laughing my butt off in the backyard while I'm doing my work on a Saturday. That's what I want to do. I want that back. But he can't do that right now if he wants to win, and it's so pathetic. So I gave you the polling numbers. It's not good. How alarmed does this make you feel if you're a Trump supporter? Harris up by 3 in Quinnipiac today. Emerson, Harris up by 4. Fox News, Trump up by 1. Morning Consult, Harris up by 3. Third week in a row, it keeps going in that direction, and she keeps hiding. Even Charlemagne the God, who said he will vote for her, is attacking her. Literally, he said he called her out for failing to do interviews. He says Trump is everywhere. She does need to do more interviews. He said it's striking that we really haven't seen her answer questions yet. We haven't seen her answer questions yet. I really don't know. I mean, it's the bottom of the 9th inning, right? I feel like she should be anywhere and everywhere, having these conversations. I truly don't know why she hasn't done any interviews yet. Donald Trump is still sucking the air out of the headlines. He keeps headlines going, he says. Governor Tim Walz, he called a DEI hire. Isn't that great? Walz is a DEI hire. That's what Charlemagne the God said. Okay, but Kamala did do an interview. She's not hiding. Listen, this is her having a, quote, interview with her vice presidential candidate, Walz. It's a fake interview.
I was hoping maybe we wouldn't have to.
I called you, Tim.
Yes.
You didn't answer, Tim.
I know.
What happened?
The most important call of my life. It popped up, and we didn't recognize the caller ID, and it went to voicemail.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm not able to answer.
There you
go. Thank you.
Hey, Tim, it's Kamala. I really want want to talk to you.
It is an amazing privilege. I'm excited. I just want to be part of the excitement that you're generating.
Well, we're doing it together, buddy.
fun.
We're doing it together.
That's her interview. She did an interview with it was with him. Here's more of her interview. She is doing interviews. It's her and Tim Walz.
Like I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
No.
Did he say he has white guy? He does white guy tacos. What a self-humiliating what is it called? Like self-flagellating, not flatulence, but flagellating, where you whip yourself in the back like the Catholics used to do, or at least I don't know, some Catholics, whatever, back in the day. Literally, he's like self-flagellating. He's whipping himself in the back for being white.
Like I have white guy tacos and
What is
like
that?
black,
Like mayonnaise and tuna? What are you doing?
pretty much ground beef and cheese.
That's okay. Do you put any flavor in it?
Why is he asking her permission? She says that's okay. It's a freaking taco. That's what a taco is.
No. Here's the deal. No, they said to be.
This is her interview. She's interviewing. These are hard-quaking questions between her and Tim Walz.
Careful and let her know this, that black pepper is the top of the spice level in Minnesota, you know.
I'm the first vice president, I believe, who has ever grown chili peppers.
I'm trying to expand my food knowledge.
You know, we've got some cantaloupes. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's it. That's it. Thursday, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Thursday on YouTube. That's the interview. That's what you get. It's hard, man. That's hard hitting. How does she do it? Okay. Next. I love this one. I wrote the headline on this. Fallen. Oh, wait. I'll hold off before I tell you what's next. I got more time. I wanted to share this tonight, too. In a blog post, Kamala Harris urged bail fund donations for front lines during 2020 George Fentanyl riots. Sean Michael Tillman of St. Paul was sentenced to life in prison this year for first and second degree murder, court records show. Her fundraising efforts help free murderers and rapists. She freed George Howard, who pleaded guilty last year to second-degree murder for shooting and killing a man in 2021 in Minneapolis. Good job, Kamala. Darnica Floyd she freed with her bail fund that she gave to and told everybody else to give to. She shot it up to millions. It went to millions and millions of dollars. It had a budget of $230,000 until she put it on her Facebook, and then it had millions, 41 million because of her. She made it famous. She also freed Darnica Floyd, who was sentenced to prison in 2021 after being charged with second-degree murder and serial domestic abusers. Also, she helped pay $350,000 to release twice convicted rapist Christopher Boswell. Good job, Kamala. Before she lent the non-for-profit a hand after St. George Floyd, blessed be his name. After George Fentanyl's death, they had a small budget of $230,000 and can only afford an average bail of $342. Now that Kamala stepped in and helped them a couple years ago with the St. George Floyd, blessed be his name, riots, they now have they can do $13,000 average bail instead of $342. She made all these murderers and rapists go free, and that's part of her legacy, and that's her justice. There you go. Next, here's my title, and I can't wait to share this with you. Fallen from Grace. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tried to meet with Kamala to discuss a cabinet job, followed by meeting Trump trying to discuss a cabinet job. First the bear, now this. CNN's Harry Enton says RFK Jr. tanking amid report he tried to trade Harris endorsement for a job. I'll give you my endorsement if you give me a job. See that? You literally see that? Dirk was given a job, if you will. Dirk Tigler. That was his name in Boogie Nights. Truly a bizarre campaign, said Harry Enton Jr. Or Harry Enton Jr. I want to say Harry Enton, the pollster for CNN. This is truly a bizarre campaign. He says the presidential election has been the most boring of his lifetime before Joe Biden dropped out of the election. Then he says the election has been pure nutter butter. Okay, whatever, dude. But if you're holding on to 2/5 of your support from July, 2/5 of support from July, you're falling through the floor, which is what he's doing, RFK Jr. is doing. But the key nugget here is Kamala Harris is picking up a slew of those voters who are disaffected, who said they were going to vote third party. They're no longer voting third party. by a 1 to 2 point margin. They're voting for Kamala over Trump. Not good for Trump. All right. Here's more. RFK Jr. tried to meet with Kamala to discuss cabinet job. This is from MSN. Independent presidential candidate RFK Jr. sought a meeting with last week with Democrat nominee Kamala Harris to discuss possibility of serving her administration, perhaps cabinet secretary, if he throws her support behind her campaign if she wins. However, as I mentioned, he was humping Trump's leg in Milwaukee, where he met with him at the RNC and said, hey, I'll give you my support if you give me a cabinet job. My gosh, this is bad. This is really bad. I swear to you, it really is Dirk Diggler in that parking lot. Sorry, I've said it 4 times now. I apologize. And then he slams, quote, elitist Democrats amid Harris cabinet claims. He attacked him after they didn't give him a cabinet position. Okay, yeah, RFK Jr. blasts Democrats as elitists one day after reports he privately sought a post with Harris. You delete us. Well, you came to us and asked us for a job. You wanted to be one of us. Then we said no, and now you're attacking us. He has gone down in spectacular flames. He is the Hindenburg that Joe Biden's campaign. Remember I told you Joe Biden's campaign was going to be a Hindenburg for 4 months straight, and it was. And I forgot to tell you that. It actually landed, a week or two ago. It landed. It touched down. You know, remember I said it was slowly coming down from the skies? It blew up, and it was in flames. It was going down. I played that for you that night a couple times, and then it comes down and it just goes doom, and it touches the ground, and that just kind of unfolds, just the frame. That's his campaign a few weeks ago. I was right. It's the Hindenburg. A slow descent and a slow collapse. My questions for you on this. I have some questions for you on this. This fallen from grace man here, this fallen from grace story. First the bear, now this is my. I wrote a headline for this: fallen from grace. First the bear, now this. How much of a chance do you think RFK Jr. has at winning anything this November? That's my question for you. How much of a chance do you think RFK Jr. has at winning anything this November? Let alone a cabinet seat. And how bad does it look with him meeting with both Trump and Kamala trying to find a cabinet position? Pretty lonely, right? He literally believes in all that radical green stuff that Kamala does, and he's an environmental lawyer and all that stuff, but he's not the kind you want to be in charge. And then this is the ultimate humiliation of oneself. Pick a side, go offer yourself to them, and both sides is embarrassing. That's bad. I mean, that's really bad. This isn't 2 competing companies. This is 2 radically different candidates. And it's like it reeks of sad desperation. Hence the Dirk Diggler scene. All right, enough of that. I've repeated this so many times. Thank you for calling the Department of Redundancy Department. May I help you? Hey, a quick honorable mention for Kamala and her great policies. This is breaking tonight from Fox News' Bill Malugin. ICE Buffalo arrested a Peruvian gang leader who is wanted for 23 murders in Peru. Joe and Kamala let him in, a murderer who's killed 23 people in Peru. He was caught and released by Joe and Kamala. Well, I should say Kamala. I mean, she's in charge of the border. She's the point person that Joe Biden put in charge. And actually, MSNBC, CNN, and others called her on their airwaves. I've played it for you. The border czar. And Kamala, under her leadership, caught and released this 23-time murderer from Peru in May. Gianfranco Torres Navarro, a leader of Los Killers, quote unquote, was arrested by ICE in Endicott, New York, 145 miles north of NYC. ICE says Navarro was caught by Border Patrol May 16th near Roma, Texas at the Rio Grande Valley, but was released by Kamala into the U.S. custody with a notice to appear. Hey, go kill 23 more. We'll find you then. Make it 46. We want you to kill Americans since 23 Peruvians is not enough. It took almost 2 months before federal authorities learned he was wanted in Peru for nearly 24 murders. After being informed, Buffalo-based ICE deportation officers found and arrested him yesterday. He's now on ICE I have a photo of it, and I have this description on my Twitter feed, which is why you should never stop following me. And if you aren't following me, what the heck's wrong with you? I'm going to shame you and attack you, but I'll just be nice about it and say that. ICE statement, including this photo here, is on my Twitter feed, at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKROK, CHRISKROK. Gianfranco Torres Navarro, I'm talking like he's Italian, poses a significant threat to our communities. We don't allow New York to be a safe haven for dangerous non-citizens, said Buffalo ICE. By the way, Kamala wants to abolish ICE. I can play you her saying that. I think I have it right here, actually. Let's see. Flip through my little Rolodex. Where is it? Do I have my abolish ICE? It's in here somewhere. I can play you. You can't say Merry Christmas as long as the illegals aren't given amnesty. Little children, she wants them to have amnesty. You can't say Merry Christmas. But I've got her saying abolish ICE too. I could play that for you if you really want. You can put a request in. Nonetheless, well done by our ICE Buffalo officers who brought this individual to custody, and well done by Kamala who let him in. Thank you, Kamala. I know that you could get him doing more than 23 murders. We could get 33 murders in America. And I'm bringing these. We want Gianfranco to have citizenship so he can be kept here and murder those people, and then I'll make sure he doesn't get the death penalty. If he kills a cop, I won't give him the death penalty, like when I was in California. Sorry. Next. I've been meaning to tell you this story from my heart. You've heard it, but you got to hear it more. You got to hear it directly. Hundreds gather to honor Fort Worth Police Sergeant Billy Randolph, a cop's cop, and the woman who was accused of murdering him, killing him, if you will. It's killing him, murdering him while driving drunk on probation, and how this 6-time arrestee was able to get free and now stands accused of killing a hero. That is next on the Chris Crock Show at 10:48 on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Make it a preset, y'all. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. I read the story, and I've seen what happened, and I prefer to start with honoring the police officer today there was a candlelight vigil for him, Sergeant Billy Randolph. And Billy did not need to be working anymore. Billy had worked for 29 years, actually nearly 30 years, they say, in the Star Telegram today describing how it went down. And you look at his wife, and you look at his legacy, and you look at his children, his adult children, and his grandchildren today suffering. And that you look at his widow, and she did not. They're mature, and they have these adult children that I think they're around in their late 30s, mid late 30s, I believe. He would have been 57 years old. There you go, 6 years older than me. So he did not have to continue to work. He was in the Air Force, and 4 years later, I'm sorry, his brother was in the Air Force, but Matt was in the military and then wanted to join the force. He was getting out of the military, wanted to join the force police. So he served us in our military, but he also served us in the police, though, for almost 30 years. And so this man was an all-around hero, serving in the military, but also serving in our police force. But here's the thing. He didn't have to be working anymore. He could have been retired, but he wanted to serve more. He wanted to tirelessly serve more. He felt, I can't speak for him or his family, but he felt, to me, it seems like he had this calling and he had purpose in his life other than his marriage to his beautiful wife and his children. And it kills me that he was a mature adult, meaning, older, didn't have to be working anymore in this occupation, but he kept doing it. And it kills me to see a wife who is probably he was 6 years older than I am, and that he didn't have to do this anymore, and hurts me. And he was out there. They closed the road down. This woman, who's accused of being a drunken driver, drove up the wrong way on the ramp and hit him. It was totally blocked off. It was an exit ramp. There was an 18-wheeler crash. Totally was shut down. She drove through it and killed him. And we're waiting the toxicology reports. But this woman has been charged over and over and over again and let out on bail. And they're fast-tracking the toxicology results. My friend and the police chief of Fort Worth, Neil Noakes, said he's an amazing man. I looked at his picture at today's candlelight vigil, and I'm like, he's really meant for that job, and I mean that. He's an amazing man, and I admire him, and I'm grateful for our friendship. But earlier this year, this woman who's been arrested and charged with killing this great officer, Sergeant Randolph, and for drunken driving. She had pleaded guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and unlawfully carrying a weapon. You understand that that's a precursor to murder. There's nothing beyond that between that and murder. So this woman had no business being out. She shot her romantic partner in 2023, sentenced to 6 years in probation, the Fox 4 News said. She was prohibited from using, possession, or consuming any alcohol as part of her probation. And there she goes, drunken driving, according to cops. And she got 6 years of probation at the time of the crash after shooting another woman in 2023, was not supposed to be drinking alcohol. And it's over and over and over again. She was arrested, remanded. I looked at her 6 booking photos. Here we go from my friend Manny Ramirez, who is now a Tarrant County politician who I endorse and support wholeheartedly. Manny's a friend, and Manny's, of course, a former Fort Worth Police Officer Association member and police officer for many years for Fort Worth. He says she never should have been out of jail. She shot her girlfriend with a handgun in 2023. She pleaded guilty. Ag assault with deadly weapon, first-degree felony in Texas. The punishment is 5 years to life in prison, yet she was sentenced to probation, released in April. Sadly, Manny says, this is what happens when society demands zero accountabilities for those who commit violent and dangerous crimes. So I would like to honor Sergeant Billy Randolph tonight, and I would like to say thank you for your service, and you mean everything to us, and it means everything to me that you were out on that street when you didn't have to be, and that you were down on your knees helping these people out and blocking stuff, and you died needlessly, but you died serving us, and that means everything to us. Thank you, sir.